Hi everyone, it's Katie from the West Dallas Public Library. I'm here for Books Live with Katie. It is the end of January, and today we are going to be talking about some self-care and wellness books, actually focusing on personal beauty and grooming. My name is Katie. I am one of the librarians here at the West Dallas Public Library, and I love talking about the books I've read. As usual, if you have any questions or just follow up or are looking for suggestions of what to read, feel free to throw them in the comments or shoot me a message on Facebook or email. I will include my email on a write-up post that I do after this. We've archived all these videos on YouTube and Facebook. So if you catch it and you want to watch the rest of it later, it will be there. So let's get started. Oh, I wanted to just check in. At the end of December, we talked about reading resolutions, which was setting goals to read more or read differently. And I am happy to report that I actually kept my reading resolution for the most part. I did have a few days where I did not have time to read, but more days than not, I read for at least 20 minutes, and I managed to finish 3 whole books since the last time we talked, and I had 2 that I didn't finish, one because it just wasn't the book for me, and one because I had to bring it back. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I've read towards the end of this, because I want to get right into the exciting books to talk about today. It's January, so I know a lot of us are thinking still about those New Year's resolutions, making changes. I know we're still in the midst of the pandemic. Self-care is really hard right now. So I thought I'd talk about some books that hopefully make self-care a little bit easy, and they're all books that you could probably do at home with things you have, or just give you new ideas how to style and look your best while on Zoom or just sitting around or doing what you do. One of my favorite things about the library is we have so many great collections that I just don't think people realize. Like, there's books about every subject, and for every time you think of a book that a library should have, whether it's required reading for school or a history book, there's another book on the shelf that is just so unexpected. I love these books. Today we're going to be talking about books about beauty and personal grooming. I didn't throw fashion books in there, but that's another fun area to browse if you're into fashion. And most of these books are found in the 646s, so you just have to go a little bit beyond cookbooks. So if you're browsing the cookbooks, just keep going back. It's a fun little collection. So I picked a few books on skincare, hair care, and even makeup, and then some other more like healthy habit type books to share with you today. Okay, up first is a book that I actually adore. I've read it twice now. It is called The Silver Hair Handbook, and it is for anyone who, I'm not gonna lie, I have not been to the salon that much this past year. I think I've had in the past 18 months 2 haircuts, and I noticed quite a bit of that silver hair coming through, and it's not bad. I actually really embraced it in a lot of different ways, and I think the best part about a book like this is it gives you tips and tricks on how to take care of hair that might be changing, or again, if you haven't been able to get to the salon as much, see your hairstylist. What's great about it is there's actual stories from real people that talk about their experiences with hair graying and how they kind of leaned into it. It also talks about the special ways you might have to take care of gray or silver or white hair. And again, this book may not be for everyone. You may not have issues with gray hair. You might be like, hey, you know what? Dyeing my hair is important to me and I'm gonna do that. You might be blessed with beautiful natural hair with no gray yet. But this is just one example of the many books we have on hair care. I personally have checked out books on curly hair, how to do braiding, how to take care of kids' hair. They're all there, and this is just one. So if you are like me and leaning in a little bit to that silver, gray, white hair, this is a fun book to read. But if not, we have tons of books on hair care for you to check out. About 10 years ago, sorry, I just knocked over the ring light. About 10 years ago, I really got into skincare. And I am a skincare person. Like, if I have extra money, that's where it is going. So when I find a book like the Skin Nerds book, I get really excited. This book is all about how to take care of your skin from the inside out. I will be honest, this book is intimidating, and I would not do all of these steps, But if you're having issues with your skin, whether from wearing a mask all day or just noticing the dryness in your skin changing, outbreaks of eczema, psoriasis, or even just environmental things that you can't tell, this is an excellent book. I'm not gonna lie, it is intense. Like, if you want to follow her tips, it is going to be a lot of work, but also you can just pull what you like out of it. And for me, this book was really helpful because it explained a lot of the whys behind skincare. I was one of those people that, like, I knew I had to double wash my face, but I didn't understand why, and they really lay it out, like, why that's important, or why it's important to use something like sunscreen. Again, this book has lots of tips, lots of advice, lots of things that you may not be ready to do on your own, but if you've noticed issues with your skin, this would be a great place to start. And again, I'm not saying that this would be the right book for everyone. It's just one book of many we have on our shelves, which brings me to the next one. This is called Makeup, and it's by Phan. She is a YouTube beauty guru, and if you've ever fallen down that particular makeup YouTube hole, for lack of a better word, you've probably seen some of her videos. But what's great about this book is it's very relatable, and she's very down to earth. Talks about the basics, like the bare minimum you have to do. But also, this would be a great book to give a young person because it talks not just about like personal grooming and beauty, but also talks about maybe applying for jobs, getting resumes, how to get dressed for professional situations. It's just a lot of advice in one place. Again, it's very simple, and she gives very easy to follow steps. So if you're not looking for an all-out, inside and out skincare routine, I recommend Phan's Makeup. Speaking of makeup, these are the most fun books I have ever seen. These are aspirational, and they're just beautiful to look at. And the book I am talking about is Making It Up, Makeup Minus the Rules. Now, ideally, when I started planning for this Facebook Live, I thought, how fun would it be to recreate one of these looks like these people on YouTube? I do not have the skill set nor the ability to film myself doing makeup and talking at the same time. Also, as you can see, I wear glasses, and what you can't see is they're very thick, and if I take them off, I can't see anything. So that's why I'm not going to show you me doing my makeup, but instead recommend you check out a book like Making It Up. This has beautiful pictures. Let's see if I can open one. I should have marked them. And then she goes step by step on how to create these looks. She also tells you the tools she uses, and it felt very, to me, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, it felt very natural. Like, if you don't have the exact things she's talking about, don't worry about it. Find something similar, but explaining the brushes and how to hydrate your skin and how to put it on the makeup is very helpful, as well as, again, it's just beautiful. The photographs are gorgeous. And let's see if I can find one of the really fun looks. This is where marking it ahead of time would have really come in handy. But she shows you how to do the things step by step, but then combines everything in the end. So like if you wanted to do this, she shows you how to do each part of it, and then you can put all of it together for a full face of beautiful makeup. Now, I realize that when I talk about these books, you're looking at me going, okay, Katie, that's great, but even you just said, you're not going to do this makeup look. But for someone who likes to watch these YouTube videos or is interested in doing makeup, these are a great resource. Or if you're someone like me who just likes to look at the pretty pictures, highly recommend a book like Making It Up. There are so many books about beauty and makeup that I haven't even touched the surface on. But I'm going to show you one that actually was not for me. But if you are someone who likes to make things, this is the big book of homemade products. It was a little intense for me, above my skill level, I will say, as I read it and thought, I don't even know where to get those ingredients. But if you are someone with a lot of time or just interested in more natural products, we have tons of books like this. So definitely come to the library and check out books on the subject that you're most interested in. Okay, so beyond skincare and hair care, and in all honesty, no matter what your skin or hair type is, I highly recommend checking out our collection in the 646s. Again, there is something for everyone. I, of course, picked up books that were of interest to me and dealt with issues I am dealing with. But again, you know your skin, and we have something for everyone there. And now, again, I would be, if we're talking about New Year's resolutions and moving forward and becoming better. It would be wrong of me to not discuss books that deal with changing your habits or being a better person, right? We have so many self-help books in the library. I picked up 2 that are popular and out right now, new books. There is Better, Not Perfect. Again, this is about making decisions in your life that are better and not perfect, and not being, looking at my notes now, and not being bogged down by the idea of choice. I jokingly call this, if you watch The Good Place, the Cheaty book, but it's probably not academic enough for him. But again, it talks about making choices that do you good and do the world good, and the idea is, like the title says, better, not perfect. Again, I haven't read this one yet, but I probably should. Jen Sincero has the You Are a Bad book, and this is her new one on habits. And if you're thinking about starting new habits or changing your habits, finding a book like this that helps you go through the steps, of course, can be really helpful. Again, I know she's very popular, and books with naughty words in the title are very popular right now as well. So if this sounds like something you'd like, we have it here for you at the library. Finally, I'm going to talk about actually one of my favorite areas of books to read, and that's books by comedians. I think it's great to read a book by a comic for a lot of reasons, but one is they usually end up being advice books without you even knowing it. So right now I have Loni Love's I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to, and where she talks about her experiences and then kind of like how you don't have to live your life a different way just because someone else says so. I think Loni Love is hysterical. I used to watch her on a show all the time. I haven't watched The Real because I'm working, but she used to be on Chelsea lately, which was one of my favorite shows back when it was on, and she was just one of those fun people, funny people. So I am, this is still on my TBR list. Another book came in for me that I started racing through, so this will probably be read hopefully in the next couple weeks because I still have it checked out. Again, learning from someone else is just a fun way to kind of give yourself that break. Not all reading has to be serious, and I think that's one thing when we think about self-care that we forget that, well, it's great to read to learn and to be educated and to move forward. Sometimes you just need to laugh. So I highly recommend books by comics, and the one I picked this time, because it kind of fits in with theme, is Loni Love's I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. Okay. So again, reading for self-care is really about reading the books that speak to you. And if you start reading a book and don't enjoy it, put it down. If you're reading a book on health or beauty or even self-help and you're like, nope, this is not for me, put it down. Or even, like for me in the skincare book, I know I'm not going to do everything they say, but if I read it and pick up a couple things that can help me on the next read or reread, it might be something that I pick up more. Okay, so let's talk about what I've read since we last met. Again, I said I had read 3 books, and a couple I didn't finish. The one was the Wow, No, Thank You by Samantha Irby, and there was a wait list, so I couldn't finish it, but I loved it, and I'm looking forward to getting my next copy in from the library. So that is definitely on still my to-be-read list, probably after I finish the book I'm reading now or when it comes in. I read Survival of the Thickest. I do have a book review that I wrote for the Staff Reads blog that'll probably be up in the next month or so, but it was hysterical. Again, coming back to that self-care through laughter and reading about someone else's experience so you can kind of share in them, that was really great. I highly recommend getting on the list for that. I still have to watch her special, but the clips I've seen through Instagram have been hysterical, and she's just funny. Another book I read about by a comedian was Arden Marine's Little Miss Little Compton, and it was surprisingly touching and just this kind of fun short book that I actually raced through last week. I finished the fiction book Spoiler Alert, which was good. I enjoyed it. It was a light read, a fun read, and I might talk about that more next month when I talk about books at the end of February. Spoiler alert, we're talking, that's the title, we'll be talking about romance, so I might just save my full opinions of that book for then. Yeah, right now on my to-be-read pile, other than I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to and the Samantha Irby Wow, No, Thank You, I am halfway through the Amber Ruffin book, and I don't think I wrote the title down. Oh, You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey, which is stories of true things that happened to her younger sister, and this book is both funny, eye-opening, and they're really exploring race in a way that is reachable, but also kind of gives you that unbelievable, this story happened in the past 5 to 10 years, and you kind of can't believe it's still happening. If you're a fan of Amber Ruffin, her show on, I believe, the Peacock streaming service, you're definitely going to want to get your hands on this book. It's a surprisingly fast read that's making me think really a lot. I'm also number 847, okay, that's an exaggeration, for the Glennon Doyle's Untamed. I had no desire to read this book. I knew it was out. I knew kind of who she was, but then I heard her speak on a podcast, and now I can't wait to read this book. It's actually, I'm actually waiting for the browsing copy to come back, because I might just read that. So this is me getting excited about books that I had no desire to read because I heard people speak about them, and that was kind of interesting for me. Also, both of these books I just talked about were featured guest on the Busy Phillips podcast. Busy Phillips is doing her best. If that gives you any idea of where I get the books I'm really enjoying recently. I also have 2 young adult books on my to be read list. The ALA Media Awards were announced on Monday, which is the awards for outstanding work in children's and young adult literature. And this is a great way, especially if you don't read a lot of children's or young adult literature, to find kind of the best of the best. I will be honest, every year there's a book that I'm like, really, this one? But this past year for 2020 and 2020, for 2020, I hadn't been as involved in new books as I had in the past. So I'm really excited to read the Prince winner, which is the award for excellence in books for young adults. It's Everything Sad is Untrue by Daniel Nayeri, and it's gotten a lot of buzz. The nice thing about it this year is, even though it's written for teens, it's about a middle school student, and I think a lot of times, and especially writing for teens, we forget about that younger group. We write a lot for the older group, and that's great. Older teens need to read, but I think a lot of times those appeal more to people like me, as opposed to teens. So reading this book, I'm really excited because it is more for middle grade readers, and I'm excited. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I heard it's a challenging read, so I'm excited for that one. And I said I have 2. Oh, I have the book My Eyes Are Up Here, which is about a young woman dealing with having a large chest in high school, which I think it's hopefully going to bring up a lot of things that good questions and good thinking. I don't always read for that, but it just seemed like a funny title, and I'm not going to lie, something I kind of went through in high school as well. I also have Quanberry's We Ride Upon Sticks, which I've been dying to read forever, and it was a 7-day book like the last 4 times I checked it out, and I never had time to get to it. So now it's not a 7-day book, and I'm probably going to keep it at home until I have to return it again. But I really do want to read it. It's about field hockey and witches and the Salem witch trial, and it just seems like a fun book. Okay, so that's what I've been reading, what I've read, and some books about personal health care. I am going to take a sip of water. Sorry about that. Talking for 18 minutes straight. Who knew? Made me a little dry in the throat. Okay, even though it is the end, we will be back in February 24th at 10 a.m. here on Facebook Live, and I will be talking about romance books. Now, I know you're probably going, okay, that's one I'm going to miss, but don't, because I will bring up some unexpected romances, maybe some real-life romances, and of course, some of my absolute favorite return to after all-time romances. Thank you so much for listening with me today. If you have questions, feel free to send them. Like I said, we'll post the recording of this shortly after, and I will see you hopefully at the library. Bye. Thanks for joining me today.